Hi, I'm Siobhan Sarna. I founded a company called Chronic Condition Rescue back in 2016. I had been in a moldy building without realizing it, and then I was in mold denial for 24 years, over 20 years. I had SIBO from food poisoning when I was 5 on a trip to India. I've had a lot of complications from that. I had bad advice in perimenopause. Now I'm like menopausal and found out the really good stuff, and therefore I'm in the process of launching a summit, which you can register for, not the main focus today, which is the new science and wisdom of menopause. You've probably got an email about it. It's phenomenal. One of my very special friends, Tobias Segal, is one of the speakers. So Tobias runs a family company that is totally devoted to ozone. They have some red light too that we want to talk about, but it's ozone. That's the thing. What is ozone? How can I use it? He did a gorgeous presentation in the summit for women's health issues and men's penis health. That's right, I said it, because people don't talk about it enough other than erectile dysfunction and blah, blah, which is obviously important, but there's something else I want you to know about. So if you ever had UTIs, all kinds of women's health issues, you know what they are, as well as, wait for it, we're going other end, dental issues, all sexes. If you have a mouth, I'm talking about you. And then cleaning your produce, cleaning your kitchen counters, cleaning your toothbrushes, actually removing pathogens from your life in a safe way. I'm going to hand things over to him because you can tell I'm like bursting with wanting to tell you about it, but I'm going to let him do it. He's the expert. Hi, Tobias. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me again. So
yeah, no, it's my pleasure. And you're one of the most, when are you going to do another ozone webinar, Siobhan? Because people love it. And also he makes one of my favorite toothpaste. I better just be quiet. You go, you do
okay.
Share your screen.
So thanks so much for having me. I want to dive into a nice little presentation. It's going to be more about getting into ozone at home. It's going to go over like what some of the therapies look like, how they work, what you need. And I'm going to do my best to describe it as easily as possible so everybody understands what it entails and how to do it. So
and
I'm going
what
to share my
ozone is and what it isn't.
Yes.
I forgot to do my housekeeping. Be nice or be gone. It is a semi-public forum. And then also, please, any questions that you have, put them in the Q&A box, not the chat. Please refrain from chatting. At some point, I'll put a code in the chat for a whopping 10% discount, but mainly stick with us for some incredible free information and a lot of hope. I'm so excited. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. Okay.
Okay, go. I'm going to hide me, but I will not be leaving you.
Okay. So let me just get to the beginning. Give me 1 second. Okay. And gotta go. It always does this slideshow from the beginning. Okay. So a little bit about myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I love inventing things. Natural health has really been a passion of mine. I've mentioned this before. Medical ozone was introduced to me at a really young age. So I've been around it for a while. I've seen how it works. I've had firsthand experience with family members, people in general all over the world. I've had some phenomenal opportunities to see how it actually works with people and just really have amazing experiences with results and seeing how people can benefit from it. Overall, it's changed my life. It's changed my perspective on mainstream medicine. And I think people really need to take a lot of this in as far as what you can actually do with ozone at home. So this presentation, my goal is to give you a pretty good guide as far as what it entails, what is ozone, how it works, and what you can do with it at home. But ozone in general, what it is we're taking oxygen, the air that we breathe, and we're basically using a purified form. So we're taking 99% oxygen, we're funneling it into a machine that looks like this right here. And all it's doing is it's electrically charging the oxygen, and it's converting that oxygen from O2 to O3. And that O3 is that special molecule. That's what we're using to create all these cool things. We're going to use it with our body. We're going to infuse it into water. We're going to use it to clean our produce. It's got so many amazing cleaning properties that people are just unaware of. And so ozone is so easy to make. You can make it at home and you can do so many amazing things with it. So here's the trick about getting into ozone at home. you have to have pure oxygen, just like we previously discussed. So the big thing is, we want to make sure that you can obtain either a medical oxygen tank, an industrial tank, or we actually have the ability to ship people's tanks to their door, which makes it a lot easier for individuals. So the first step that we have to really figure out and focus on is picking your oxygen source. So the first option, this is an industrial oxygen tank. This is a very common thing that people will use for ozone at home. It contains 99.5% pure oxygen, same quality as medical. It's going to be the easiest to obtain. You're going to go down to a welding store, as weird as that sounds, and you're just going to ask, hey, I need to get an industrial oxygen
It's
tank.
not the easiest to obtain. Ordering it from
Okay.
Tobias is the easiest to obtain. I don't want to run an errand, Tobias. I love you, but no. So you
Totally agree.
oxygen tanks
I
from
totally
Tobias.
agree.
Okay.
So it's going to be, and I just want to be clear, it's the same quality as medical. That's my big takeaway from industrial gas.
Okay.
The next one we have is medical tanks. So if you have a prescription, then this is probably going to be your easiest route. But prescriptions are really hard to get for oxygen. Not everybody can get that. So if you can't get a prescription, just cross this off your list. Forget about it. Don't even consider it. Okay. Okay. And then, so the last option that we have, we call them pre-filled oxygen tanks. And so what we can do is we found a clever little loophole that allows us to actually ship a filled compressed oxygen tank to your door so it arrives ready to go. So this tank is going to contain 99.9% pure oxygen. It's literally the best stuff that you can get to use with your ozone machine. It arrives at your door. All you do is pull it out of the box, you attach that blue little device on top, and you set it and you're ready to go. So if you have the ability to go this route, it is going to be by far the easiest option for you. We try to simplify the process. Like, our goal is to essentially have everything arrive at your door, and all you have to do is pull it out of your box, pull it out of the box and set it up, and you're ready to go. So if you can go this route, if you're looking for simplicity, consider the pre-filled oxygen tanks. So I think the biggest question that I get is, like, what is a home ozone setup? Like, what does it look like? So this is just like a basic picture of what you're going to see typically. You've got an ozone machine, you've got a water bubbling device that's going to be used to drink the ozonated water. And there's a few other components that we're going to be adding to the system, but it doesn't take a lot of it doesn't take a lot of room on the table. You can set it up in a way where it's pretty simplistic. The one thing that people have to realize is we are dealing with the gas, and we do have to transfer that gas from one component to the next, which is why you see tubing. So, tubing is an important role in ozone at home. Don't get overwhelmed by it. It's pretty simple. But this is an example of what the setup looks like. If you're, using like a therapy called rectal insufflation, we're going to be filling up these bags. So I refer to this as more of like a gas enema bag. So if anybody's ever done an enema at home, this is basically the exact same except with gas, but this is how simple it is to hook up. You have a tank, you have a generator, and then you have a bag. And that's literally all it is for setup for half the stuff.
And it's less messy. I'm nothing against coffee enemas and all that, but it is not, there's obviously no liquid.
Yes.
Okay. I also have a lot of beginners here, so I know you're going to get to this, but what exactly does ozone do for our health?
Absolutely. So ozone is really cool because what it's doing is, as it enters our body is essentially soaking it up. So I'm going to break it down in the simplest possible fashion. So if we look at ozone is negatively charged. Okay. And if we look at like viruses, if we look at bacteria, those typically carry a positive charge. Ozone, all it does is it says, hey, I'm attracted to a positively charged virus or a bacteria, and it seeks out and attaches itself to that. And what it's doing is it's literally just stripping an electron from that virus, and it deactivates it. And it does the same thing to bacteria. It breaks that cell wall and basically destroys the bacteria. So it has this ability to almost like seek and destroy and kill these pathogens that are making us sick. In addition, our white blood cells naturally produce ozone. It's how our body naturally fights off infections. So without ozone, we're doomed. Like, we're going to be sick all the time and never get over it. So our body naturally knows how ozone works. We can supplement the body naturally with ozone to make it work even more effectively. And then in addition, what ozone does is it increases energy, it reduces inflammation, and you're just going to recover so much faster if you utilize ozone with the body. This is why we're seeing medical places popping up all over the place, you offering IV ozone therapy. This is why dental offices are starting to get on board with ozone therapy. This is why we're seeing like chiropractors starting to incorporate ozone therapy, acupuncturists incorporate ozone therapy because it works so well, especially if you're dealing with some type of pathogen in the body, whether it's viral or bacterial related. It is one of the best things that you can use to eliminate that or reduce that viral load from the body so you get less sick. So overall, that's essentially a really simplistic form as far as how ozone therapy works. And you can utilize it at home to your advantage on just about any application.
This isn't medical advice. Use this as a tool. Talk to your provider. Next slide. Thank you.
So the question that I always get is, what can I do at home with it? What are my treatment options? How can I do this? And that's why I'm here. This is what I'm going to go over with you. So this is one of my favorite treatments. I call it sinus insufflation. It's the act of filling up a syringe with ozone gas, and all we're doing is we're shooting it up our nose. And so what this is doing, and let me just be clear, we're holding our breath while we do that. We don't want to breathe ozone. Ozone gas, if we breathe it directly, will make us cough, but that's about it. So I'm shooting this up my nose for one purpose. I'm trying to hit any viral load that could be at my sinus passages. And what happens is when I hit that ozone, it deactivates those viruses. And ultimately what it's doing is it's reducing my viral load. If you reduce your viral load, guess what? You are so much less likely to get sick. And there's a pretty good chance that if you came in contact with some foreign pathogen out there, you can deactivate it enough so it's not even going to be an issue, or it's not going to even bother you at all. So this is like my go-to if I'm out flying, if I have to fly to a conference, if I'm out in public somewhere, I'll go home, shoot a little ozone up my nose, fingers crossed, I don't get sick. So that's like one of my favorite go-to ozone therapy techniques. This is another one called ear insufflations. This is really cool because all we're doing is we're adding a little bit of ozone gas to the ears. And what it's doing is it's clearing up our sinus passages. It almost has like this instantaneous effect when if you're dealing with like brain fog or like mental clarity. So it can really help perk yourself up. I view it as like almost drinking a cup of coffee. Like if you drink a cup of coffee, it kind of wakes you up. It gets your mind going. You feel more active. This is literally what ear insufflation is doing. So people who have like brain fog or even like chronic fatigue issues, this is such a phenomenal treatment. It only takes like 5 minutes. And so for people who are needing a simplistic treatment at home, who need help with brain fog, this is an awesome option for individuals. This next treatment is called vaginal insufflation. So obviously it's only going to work with 50% of the population. This is the treatment that my wife has had phenomenal success with. She had a condition where she was dealing with really heavy periods that time of the month. It was starting to progress so bad where like her doctor was actually recommending a partial hysterectomy. This is something we really were not even considering her age. And so, luckily I've have some pretty good access to some individuals who can coach me on a lot of things. And we basically concluded that let's give vaginal insufflations a try. And so when we did this, it lasted like we did about 3 different sessions for her within that same month. And we noticed the result was almost instantaneous. Everything seemed to be going back to normal. Her periods were getting back to normal. There was less cramping that time of the month, less bleeding. And so the results were almost like astounding. Like it happened so quickly. Like how did we do one simple thing and it got things back to normal so quickly? But the way ozone's working here is it's really, really cool. It's reducing inflammation, which was key. And it's also helping like with scar tissue buildup. So a lot of women who have endometriosis issues typically have, scar tissue. And so ozone will actually go in and neutralize some of that tissue and help revert it back to healthy, normal tissue. And during that menopause summit that we talked about, we really focused a lot on vaginal insufflations as well, because it's a great way to deal with bacterial infections or even UTIs. And so if we're utilizing ozone, because we know that ozone's really good at killing bacteria and viruses, our goal is to reduce the amount of bacterial issues so we don't have to take as many antibiotics down the road. So less antibiotics, that means our gut's going to be in better shape and we're going to be overall in a better health. So I think for 50% of the population, this is a phenomenal treatment. You can do it as a maintenance treatment, or you can do it to treat a specific condition. So the next one we have is rectal insufflation. I know this is kind of a funny picture, but I feel like I wanted to add it because I feel like it gives a really good representation as far as how it works. So all we're doing, and this is for everybody, 100% of the population can do this. All we're doing is we're filling up a bag with ozone, just like in the picture right here, and we're just inserting it rectally. And so I call this a gas enema. So if anybody's done an enema with coffee or warm water, this is basically the gas version of an enema. And so we're putting a little bit of ozone gas up the rectum, and we're essentially allowing the blood vessels in our colon to absorb the ozone gas. And so, and what that's doing, it's basically sending that ozone gas and it's distributing it all throughout our body. The other cool thing is we have this vein in our colon called the portal vein. And what happens is that ozone gets sucked up by the portal vein and it goes right to the liver. And when ozone hits the liver, what it's doing is it's producing glutathione, which is really good for our body. So the crazy thing with rectal insufflation is it's such a systemic way to get ozone throughout the body. So if you're dealing with like some type of infection, some bacterial issue, something, and you don't know how to get the ozone to that location, well, guess what? Rectal insufflation is going to be one of the best ways to get that ozone to that specific location. So like everybody that I talk to, including myself, if you're not feeling good, if you're sick, if you do a rectal insufflation, your chance of getting over that exponentially faster has just improved because you're adding that one tool to the body that it already knows how it works, it already knows what it's doing, and you're essentially supplementing your body with what it needs to essentially fight off what it's dealing with. So as long as you can get over, putting something in that area, I think people are going to be astounded by the results. Okay, one of my favorites, I call them ozone saunas. And this is essentially, you're going to be sitting in a sauna. There's different ones that are out there. This is a steam sauna that I like to show. What happens is your head's going to have to be sticking out of the sauna. So these doors close around your head because remember, like we talked about, you don't want to breathe the ozone gas. So as that steam comes out, we're pumping ozone into the sauna. It feels really good. Your pores are opening up. And the next thing you know, that ozone is so soluble, your skin is starting to absorb it. And so very similar to rectal insufflation, it's just another avenue of getting ozone to be absorbed in the body. Now, I do want to point out rectal insufflation is typically going to take less time. So if you're on a time crunch, if you have things to do, ozone saunas are really good, but they're going to be a little bit more of a time commitment. So effectiveness, some people say the effectiveness is the same as a rectal insufflation, but just please note that rectal insufflation takes way less time. So if you are on a time crunch, something to consider. But at the same time, I like the way saunas make me feel. Like saunas make you sweat, they get your circulatory system going. I think there's a lot of other added benefits to sauna that people need to also consider. And they're one of my favorite ways to do.
And we're trying to stack our habits, right? So
absolutely,
this is a great way to do that. And if you're like, I'm not putting anything in my derriere, I will take this anytime. But meaning a sauna. But the other thing is, so I don't have this at home, but I have the Relax sauna, which looks like a tea cozy, and we have a discount for you for that. If you're interested in that. But so it's don't think you have to buy this pod in order to have it work, because there are some of the pup tent style saunas you can do at home. Okay.
Yeah, and this is an example I use. This is what you're typically going to see in a spa. So a lot of spas are popping up, and they're offering the service called ozone saunas, and you can go there buy packages. And we're seeing that they're becoming quite popular because they work, and so people are noticing that they're recovering faster. So look in your local area. You're going to see ozone saunas that are starting to be available now. You can also do it at home, just like what Siobhan said. You can do the Relax sauna, and it's a great alternative for an ozone sauna at home.
And so please, everybody, put your questions in the Q&A box, because that's where I'm already at getting it ready for when Tobias is done with the presentation. So there's a little tube gadget thing, I don't know what to call it, a connector between the ozone and the Relax sauna that you can get on his site. We'll show that to you later. So it wouldn't work with a sauna blanket unless it was like, you had this closure around your neck.
Your head, and this is the big takeaway, like ozone is amazing. It's phenomenal in so many different ways, but you just can't breathe it. If you start to breathe ozone, it will make you cough. It'll cause some irritation. And so really we're trying to like it can work all over the body, everywhere, except when you breathe it in. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And that's where every single ozone sauna out there, your head's going to have to be sticking out of the sauna.
Okay, so I just put the link for 10% off for pretty much everything at his site. And we're going to keep going, but I know some of you are like anxious. So go ahead. You've been asking for that.
Okay.
So keep going.
So limb bagging, this is really popular. So if you have like fungal issues on your nails, have like a cut, something like that, ozone is unbelievably effective at dealing with fungal issues. So we can actually focus that ozone on the hand, on the feet, however you want. You're just going to sit there, let that ozone pump in the bag, let the body absorb it and do its thing. So it's a really great way for dealing with bacterial issues, fungal issues, wounds, cuts, anything in general. So if you have something you're dealing with, definitely give that a try. Okay, so ozone water, I always like to bring this up because this is the act of infusing ozone gas in water, and then we're going to drink it. It's just another systemic approach of getting ozone in the body. I love it for if I have a sore throat, it works really well for that. If I have like upper GI issues, it works really well for that. It still will get in the body pretty well, but it's not going to be near as effective as like a rectal insufflation. But this is a good one maybe for the people who are just unsure about doing something down there. A little bit easier, maybe drinking things. We're a little bit more used to that. So maybe a good gateway into ozone therapy, and you can really notice results. You're going to notice energy increase. And especially if you're sick, like if you have a sore throat, this is literally my go-to. It works so well. It allows me to recover so much faster. We've addressed all these treatment options at home, but the biggest question that I get is like, how do I, it looks so easy when you're presenting it. You made it seem so simple. Like, how do you ensure me that it's going to be simple for me? Well, it is going to be easy for you because we do provide a really good option as far as getting trained. We have these step-by-step instructions, like how do you choose your oxygen? How do you set up your equipment? How to perform your therapies? And these are all video based. And so we have videos that literally show you step by step how to set everything up, how to work everything. And also like if for some reason those videos don't cut it, we offer a whole nother service where you can actually schedule personalized setup consultations that are free of charge. They do not cost you a thing. You can get a one-on-one consultation with us and we can literally walk you through how to use your equipment, what to do, and even provide some recommendations and some guidelines for you to follow that will hopefully help you on your journey when working with ozone therapy. So, really learning is half the battle. Like, we feel here that if you're not successful with ozone, you're going to be turned off by it. You're going to tell your friends you didn't have a good success rate with it. And that's going to then propel, and people are not going to want to get into ozone. But if we can make sure that you're using it properly, there's a really good chance that it's going to be beneficial for you. And then you're going to tell everybody that you know that you've had phenomenal success with ozone. So that's our goal. That's my motto here. I also like to address, we've touched on the whole oxygen side, what you can do at home with ozone therapy. I do like to note we do have a simplified version of ozone therapy at home. And I think it's really cool. So we have this little device called the EZ03. It's a little portable ozone water device. And we've designed it really for oral health. And so it's a really fast way to make ozone water. And we're not using an oxygen source. What we're doing is we're actually we're producing the ozone through the process of electrolysis. And to break that down into really simple terms, we're taking the oxygen inside the water and we're electrically charging that oxygen and turning it into ozone. So we've come up with a really cool way to flash ozonate this water really quickly. And it's an awesome way to use as like a mouthwash. You can pour the water into your water pick. So that we have some really cool options to really accelerate your oral health, because that's a big factor with a lot of people. A lot of people have ailing oral health. They don't realize that there's a lot of other issues that stem from poor teeth. And we can really fix that with ozone, because ozone has the amazing ability to fight off bacteria, especially anaerobic bacteria, which is the stuff that can cause a lot of the decay in the mouth. So why is ozone water important? Ozone water promotes a healthy pH balance in your mouth. That is 100% needed to have good bacteria that promote, positive oral health. Ozone water eliminates the majority of bad bacteria. The cool thing with ozone water is 100% safe to drink. So I'm going to bet the mouthwash that people use, it's not 100% safe to drink. you can actually drink this mouthwash. And guess what? It works better than the standard mouth, or it works better than pretty much all mouthwashes out there. So I'm a huge believer, like if I'm putting something in my mouth, I should be able to consume it and not worry about toxicity issues. And that's the great thing with ozone is there's literally no toxicity because all it is oxygen that's been electrified. So if you really want to see a huge improvement in oral health, I really recommend considering something like this. This is why we're seeing so many dentists from around the world and the United States just adding ozone to their practice because it works so effectively and it's also an incredibly safe sterilizing agent. So this is some, simple facts about oral health that people don't realize. pH, your mouth has a microbiome. As many as 85% of Americans have some form of gum disease. That's a big deal. I think people don't realize that. Each tooth is connected to a different organ in your body. So if you have a localized infection in your mouth, chances are it could be going to your gut, could be going to your heart, could be going to your lungs. There's a lot of people who have gut issues that don't realize it, and it actually stems from a molar or a specific tooth that's actually infected in their body. So some of the first things that we can address to help clear up some of these other body issues and other issues in our body is to fix our teeth, fix those localized infections in our mouth, and then we can have a chance to really healing our entire body. So this is kind of what it looks like. Ozone water made easy. It's pretty simple to use. Siobhan loves for me to talk about this, like one of her favorite devices. And we call this our OzoPod 10 because it uses the same technology of electrolysis where we're utilizing the oxygen in the water to produce the ozone. And it's one of the coolest ways we can sterilize our vegetables. And when we do this, we're eliminating harmful bacteria like E. coli and other stuff like that. We're also removing a lot of the pesticides from the vegetables as well. So ozone is a phenomenal neutralizing agent. It'll neutralize pesticides, kill that harmful bacteria. And the cool thing is when you wash your vegetables with ozone water, they last about 3 to 5 more days longer in the refrigerator. So, this device will pay itself off probably within about 6 months because you're saving that much money on not having to throw away those vegetables. You'll just be surprised how much longer they last. I clean my strawberries with this. I rinse my lettuce with this. And everybody knows we're constantly throwing away strawberries because they go bad so fast. This will actually lengthen the life. And so you'll actually get to use all that amazing produce that you buy. Medically speaking, I love to talk about this. I'm going to be really short with this, but I think for people who are looking into home ozone therapy, I think part of them also want to know what is actually going on outside. How is it being used medically? And I want to go over some of the really popular ways that people are utilizing it in clinics right now. And this is in the United States. So the first method, this is a picture of it being done. We call it direct IV ozone therapy. And so what this is the act of adding ozone gas to a vein. And so the first thing that people come to mind is, oh my goodness, they're putting a gas in a vein. They're going to have an embolism. Well, that's virtually impossible because ozone contains no nitrogen, which is what's needed for an embolism to cause. So literally, this is an incredibly safe treatment for a lot of people. They've done hundreds of thousands of these injections and never had anybody have severe issues with it. Really only positive outcomes more than anything. And so I really like people to understand that you can put ozone in the vein and it is incredibly safe. So a lot of people are using treatments like this for like Lyme disease and other stuff like that. This is another type of treatment. This is a doctor by the name of Dr. Robert Rowan. He's pretty big on the ozone circuit. He's done a lot with like promoting ozone, in the clinics. And this is called EBU ozone therapy. So it refers to extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation. So what's happening is blood is coming out of one arm. It's going into a filter system where it's being ozonated, and then it's going back into the other arm. And so it's essentially it's pulling blood out and just basically cycling it throughout our body and ozonating. And it's becoming really popular. My mom just had a treatment literally last week, and I was like, how do you feel? She's like, Toby, I have never felt so clear and so good. I have so much energy right now. And she's like, I didn't know, I thought I was clear to begin with, but no, I am so much clearer than I've ever felt. So that just kind of took me back because she's a pretty healthy person. And, you'd like to think that, she's got it figured out, but No, it literally cleared her up so much more than she even could imagine.
This is not what we're talking about today for home use. Just so you know,
No,
we're not putting needles in you and all of that. So just so you know, I just want to be
yeah,
very,
this is,
very clear because it's
and
confusing.
and I just want people to see what clinics are providing out there because I want people to
And
understand that
that's over
yes,
$1,000 at the clinic
it's
where
very
I
expensive.
had it done.
It's very expensive, but you know, ozone is really getting popular because it works. And this is another form. This is called ozone. What we're doing is we're ozonating saline. We're putting in the body. It's just a less invasive way. It's a really great way to provide ozone to patients, especially if you have like bad veins. So there's all these different options out there for people. But I just want people to understand that ozone's a thing. It's being used widely in medicine out there, and it's really, really cool. So this is a QR code I have set up. I got this all set up today for Siobhan.
Thank
This
you.
this goes directly to a landing page where we have videos that go over like if you're interested in obtaining oxygen, this goes over this goes over how to do it. If you're interested in getting into home ozone, we have videos that go over how to do it. And so it goes over all the products that we discussed because we want to give people easy access for all this kind of stuff.
I appreciate it. Let's put some love into the chat for Tobias. Thank you. This is what that page looks like. Great job, Tobias.
You're welcome. Thank
We've
you.
got a lot of questions for you.
Okay, excellent.
Presenters to share. Okay, so here's what that page looks like. And you've got to use coupon code 10SS for 10%
Yep, that's
off.
correct.
Yep, and that's only good for a couple of days. And then this is the EZ03. I actually helped him launch it. It's right here. I just keep it on my bathroom counter. We use it to brush our teeth. We use it to do the rinse. I use it to wash my toothbrush. I'll take a, hand cloth and wipe the bathroom counters down with it as well. I love it. And I have the big machine as well, but I love how convenient that is for just on the kitchen counter, bathroom.
Convenience is key. It really does help. Like I look at it from a compliance standpoint.
Exactly.
If it's easy, you're more likely to use it, and then you see the benefits, and then you're going to get into the other stuff as well.
Okay, we have a lot more questions than I thought we were going to have, so it's going to be speed dating here. Okay. How does the delivery of the oxygen tank go across to the border of Canada? Does that work?
It can work. We have to ship it ground. So when we ship these compressed oxygen tanks that look like this, we are bound by regulation, and so we have to follow those. So it cannot go air. It can only go ground to ground. So we're limited to Canada and the United States. So we cannot ship to Hawaii, unfortunately, but that is where we're limited to.
Okay. If you have an abscess in your tooth, how would you use ozone therapy? Hi, Grace.
You're going to want to use, we have these devices called dental handpieces, and you have to be careful. You can apply ozone gas directly to that area, but really you really want to get it below the gum line. Ultimately, if you have an abscess, you've got an active infection going on, you're going to have to probably address that some way,
you go to the doctor, Grace. I hope you went to the doctor. You went to the dentist.
Well, dentists, you definitely go to the dentist. What they might do is they might actually do an ozone treatment where they inject it with ozone. That's going to probably be the fastest way to prevent those abscesses from coming back. Ozone water, 100%, and even doing rectal insufflation. That's a whole systemic treatment that can help with reducing that infection and getting it over. Like a lot of dentists that we deal with, they recommend home systems because they've noticed that their patients' recovery and outcome are so much better when they're doing ozone at home.
Can this help heal a cavity? No, but it can help you with it can help you with your oral microbiome. You're making me nervous. Go ahead.
I have to address this because it's a good question. Cool. What's really cool with ozone is it actually will harden cavities. But you have to have a needle. We call it a blunt tip needle, and what you do at the dental office, they do this a lot with children. So if they have a child who has a cavity on a child, like a non-adult tooth, and let's just say if the parent is a little reluctant to cut that cavity out and do a filling because it's pretty traumatic for a young child. So what we can do is we can actually take a blunt tip needle and we're working that ozone gas on that tooth, and you can actually feel the cavity harden up. So as you have to use a little bit of tactile sense to feel that cavity, but you'll notice it start to harden up. And let's just be clear though, this may not be permanent. What we're doing is we're trying to hold off having to remove that tooth or cut out part of that tooth until they actually lose that tooth and grow a permanent tooth. And so, you could possibly reverse a cavity. There's that chance, but you really need to keep an eye on it with your dentist to see how bad it actually gets. And ultimately, if it gets too bad, you're going to have to obviously get that filled and get that treated.
Okay, I'm going to show you something. So when you guys and gals go to the site and I just want to quickly share screen. We're going to go, there you go. Okay, you're going to see the page. And then over here are the products, Ozone Therapy, Ozonated oils, which I love and use all the time. And then they've got some travel sizes. I use like a lot of these products. Where's that blunt tipped?
You'll have to type in, and I can add it to the page, but you can type in handpiece. And I want to be clear, like when you're using a handpiece in the mouth, you are actively expelling ozone gas into the mouth. And so
That's nice.
Watch the video.
Yeah.
We go over safety techniques. You don't want to breathe that ozone that's in your mouth. You're going to have to either hold your breath or, not breathe while you're, or breathe through your nose while you're doing it. There's some techniques that we offer. Watch the video. It's not for like the beginner user. This is a more advanced ozone therapy option, but just be aware if you breathe it, it will make you cough. You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. It's just uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. So.
Okay. All right, Tobias, we really have to go faster. That was my fault. Can it be used for TBI or brain injury?
That just depends. I mean, it depends on how far off it is. I mean, a lot of people who have brain injuries, if it's 20 plus years down the road, it's not going to do much. There is some evidence that people have used ozone if it's happened, they have to use it right away, if that makes sense.
Okay. But it is an overall holistic support for your body. Thanks for the information. Hi, Melissa. Positive to negative with bacteria and viruses. What about molds and yeast or specific molds in North America? How does this work for folks with mold?
It's amazing for mold. So, you can take like ozone, like if you think about what they're doing with ozone to treating houses with mold, I mean, that's one of the best ways to treat a house is with ozone. And we're essentially doing the same thing with our body. We're like, when you're treating a house with mold, you're blasting the entire house with ozone gas. You're letting it permeate, and that kills a lot of the mold spores. So it's not going to be as dangerous. You're still going to have to clean it out and make sure that mold is gone. Same with the body. Like we're putting that ozone gas in our body, whether it's rectally or whether it's vaginally. We've got to blast our body with ozone. We're killing that mold, and we're allowing our body to essentially process it and detoxify. So hands down, one of the best treatments for mold poisoning. Even the sinus insufflations, a lot of people come and say that I have mold in my sinuses. Do a sinus insufflation. That's one of the easiest things you can do for mold issues.
So somebody's asking, okay, you want me to put this up my nose, but you don't want me to breathe. It's just literally You're holding your breath. You're like, do it. Go ahead and do it.
The simplest explanation is, hey, if you go swimming and you dive underwater, you're not breathing the water, you're holding your breath. And so you guess what? When you dive underwater, you're getting some of that water up your nose. And so you're treating it the same way. When you come out of the water, you're exhaling all that excess water out of your nose. Same with ozone gas. It's as simple as that.
I've done it. It was amazing. I've done it many times, and it is as simple as that. You just have to like practice it before you do it. It's fast. How often would you replace the tubing, bags, syringes, etc.?
So a bag kit will typically last about 50 sessions. Now, everybody has their own opinion. Bags in general are going to last you for about 20 uses. So we typically give 3. So we like to say 50 to 60 uses. The catheters, they can be cleaned, they can be reused. Some people are all about that. Some people don't want to deal with that. If you don't want to reuse a catheter, you're going to have to buy a bulk of them, which that's not that big of a deal. They're like $1.50 a piece. And so, I totally get it. That's how my wife is. She's going to toss one and get a new one every time. A lot of people don't want to do that. They will reuse them. So they are reusable.
I bought your set about a year ago. I haven't used it. I understand because it's kind of intimidating, but trust me, if you will just go step by step and read the instructions, I get very overwhelmed very easily from that kind of thing, but even I can do it. Seriously. Will my tank still be okay to use? So how long does the oxygen last? Okay. Yep. I got to keep
gas will
going.
last. Gas will last like 10 years. So
okay. How do relaxed saunas work with ozone? You need to get the connector. What's it called? If you
It's
go
called
to the,
the ozone sauna connection kit. All it's doing is it's feeding the gas into the arm port, and it's allowing that gas to travel down and mixing so your body can then absorb the ozone.
okay, is there a home treatment for an upper jawbone infection? So we kind of talked about that already. You want to get that needle that I showed you. And I must have missed, is there a device you place inside the sauna? No, it's a connection.
Yeah.
And you can just type that in. Suzanne, how much ozone water can you drink at one time? I have your individual bottle. Ta-da. So I also want to know how many drops should I put in it for drinking. So it's some salt, liquid salt that you put in there.
Yeah.
And you need to use distilled water.
Yeah. So you can drink, I mean, people drink anywhere from 8 ounces to 16 ounces to 32 ounces a day. Really, it's not going to like, ozone it's just ozone. It's not going to negatively affect you. It's not going to be like you're drinking, mouthwash. And so that's going to make you sick. So, you might feel, it'll make you feel decent. So, you'll know if you're overdoing it. So just, if you overdo it, just back it off and you'll be fine. So
So will there be die off?
there absolutely will be
Yes.
die off.
Yeah,
So,
because it's
a
working.
lot, a lot of people, I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Like people will do a bunch of Ozone, like, oh, I feel kind of crummy. It's like, well, you just like, you're creating all this die off in your body. Your body has to deal with it. Take it slow. I want people to have a good experience with ozone and a good experience with other treatments. You yourself know what's best for you. Do what you do. You know what needs to be done.
Right. We can't answer how many times would you need to do nasal insufflation because we don't know how infected it is, and we couldn't answer that anyway. But it's definitely worth a try.
The
Check it.
best places to start. Yes.
Yeah. For mold, is it one rectal insufflation and you're done? No, no. I love you. I love you. I love you. I wish that was the case. Believe me. But if it was one and done, like no, it's how long were you exposed to the mold? The mold has been in your body for how long,
Yeah.
etc. So, how often in a week can you do the ozone rectal insufflation? Now we're talking, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have people who do it twice a day. We have people who do it 3 times a week. We have people who do it twice a week for maintenance. And so it's something that, as long as you're not experiencing irritation and as long as you're feeling good, you can do it really as many times as you want. Listen to yourself. And you're 100% correct when you're dealing with like a mold condition. You've got to do it for a while. Like even like these bacterial issues that people get, it's not something you can do one and done. Sometimes it can take 2, 3, 4 weeks before you really knock it out of your system. But just be consistent. You have the power to do it at home. You don't have to go somewhere to do anything anymore. You can do it anytime you want.
So convenient. Okay, how long will
Yes.
this device last? Is there coverage? I don't think, I mean, how long, I don't know.
Yeah, we offer a full 1 year
Okay.
warranty on the device.
And where do you buy the drops? You buy them at the
Yeah.
site, and do you get drops with the first order?
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Yeah,
do.
you get, and how long do you expect this to last?
The drops will last for, a couple months. You only need like a half a dropper per system or per cycle. It depends on how often you use it. If you're using it multiple times a day, obviously you're going to need more drops, but most people, use it, once a day. So it's going to last you for 2 to 3 months
Can
before
you
you need
use
to get more drops.
ozonated water in a neti pot?
Yes. Well, yes, you can, but here's the kicker. So if you heat up the water, that water is going to eliminate a lot of that ozone. So I know neti pot warm water feels a lot better, but if you use a little bit cooler water, you'll have an amazing experience, but it may not be quite as comfortable.
What is your customer service? Someone wants to know how to switch out the bottles, the red oxygen bottles.
Okay, so the bottles, here's the thing with the bottles. Once they're empty, they're empty. You have to get replacements.
Okay.
And so we're bound by regulations as far as how those work. We have to follow them. We can't get them back here to refill them.
Okay.
That's just how it works, unfortunately. That's just we chose to have this method because it's convenient for people and it allows us to get people access to oxygen where a lot of people don't have access to it.
Vaginal insufflation for endometriosis and polyps, question mark?
A lot of women use it for endometriosis. It can really help reduce inflammation, help with scar tissue issues. I think it's a phenomenal option for that. We do see some people who use it for polyps as well.
Can you use ozonated water instead of gas to treat toe fungus? Right. So
You could. You absolutely can. So just remember, fungal areas like moist environments. And so once that ozone is diminished, from the water, you now potentially have a moist environment. So I think the gas is going to be a little bit more effective at treating it because of that issue. Now, you can experiment with it, but most people are going to typically use the gas for fungal issues.
What's your customer service email?
We have it kind of go to both. We have it sales at customer service, or sorry, sales at promolife.com. That'll go directly to our customer service team.
Okay.
We have it sorted based upon sales versus customer service. We
Okay.
also have a lot of the salespeople answer the customer service stuff as well.
Why is ozone bad to breathe in?
Because it's considered an irritant. So if you breathe it in, there's basically two parts of your body that cause irritation, your eyes and your lungs. And so like when you look at your lungs, they're incredibly sensitive the way it's set up. And so like anything that causes some type of irritation, your lungs are going to notice it. That's just the one part of the body where we just can't have ozone at. So that's just a heads up.
Okay, would like more info on how the veggie ozone cleaner works. Oh, I love this thing.
So it's so cool. I mean, it literally works off electrolysis where it splits the oxygen from the water, turns it into ozone. And so you're literally just dropping this disc in there, flipping a switch, and you see little bubbles forming, and then you put your nose up to the water, you're like, oh, I smell some ozone. And it's ozonating the water, and the next thing you know, your vegetables are clean, and you would now have extended the life of your vegetables. And you've also reduced there's a lot of listeria out there. There's E. coli. There's like some crazy pathogens that they find on some of this produce. And so you've essentially just like upped the game and made yourself way less likely to get something that like this, through your produce.
So this is what it looks like right here. The Ozopod 10, it's $179. So I'm not going to say like it's like getting the spray stuff. Obviously it's more expensive, but I don't feel comfortable getting veggies. So right, I want to have organic, right? So
Yeah.
the downside is I'm going to have bugs, right? And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
upside is it's organic. If you get non-organic, then you may not have as many bugs, but you have the pesticides. So here's the deal. You will feel crazy the first time that you do this because you are putting a metal electrocuted disc into the water, but it is all very, very sealed. And you put the disc under the water, it sends out the ozone bubbles, you put the fruits and veg in there, you leave it for 10 minutes, swirl it around a little bit, and you're good to go. The stuff that I've seen come off of my fruits and vegetables, I rinse it first, like if it's obvious, a carrot, it's got dirt on it. But then I do that. And I also, like if the carrots are really dirty, I'm not going to sit there and put them in there with grapes. So I do separate them.
Yeah.
I often just fill up my whole sink with it. And then when I'm done, I get rid of everything. And then I just fill up the water a little bit and then put the disc back in and clean the sink as well. So I hope that helps. But I have a woman who sometimes comes and helps me. She was like, this is insane. You don't want me to put it in there. I'm like, yes, I do. Now she has one. It's just one of those things. Like, I wish I'd grown up with that. And if you have SIBO or IBS, remember that if you've ever had food poisoning, the number one underlying cause of SIBO, you're more susceptible to getting it. So if you love the fruit stand, you love the farm to table stand, and you want to make sure that those fruits and vegetables are as clean as possible before you're sharing them with your family, then I definitely highly recommend this, obviously.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So
yeah,
you're spot on.
A lot going on there. Does it decrease plastics in food?
I would say it's more of a neutralizing agent. I know it can help with some of the coatings on, especially like a lot of the pesticides are petroleum based, and it will eat through that and it will eliminate that. So I'm going to say that yes, it does. You're probably going to see like the residue float to the surface, which would be the petro-based, pesticides. So yeah, I could say there's definitely a positive aspect to that. I just don't know the exact quantitative number as far as what that's going to do.
Okay. Of all the products you have, which is best for your buck? Which is the best for the buck? Well, it depends. It depends.
Yeah.
If you're under $200, if you're like, I have a big family and everybody's getting scrapes and have dental issues and
Yeah.
occasional like UTI and stuff, then the bigger system would be great. If it's like you and you, you might want to get this and see how you like it, and maybe some of the dental oils, things like that. So poke around and the disc. But I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
wish this is the ultimate in first aid kits. I wish I'd had this my entire life growing up.
For me personally, it's
Mhm.
the home package because
You can do so much.
I use it on my kids. Like hands down, like if they're sick, we're doing ozone that day. It saves me doctor's appointments run. It saves me time from having to miss work. Like you'd be surprised. Like I used it for like a sty that I had not too long ago. I ozonated some water or
Mhm.
ozonated some saline. I used it in my eye for a sty. I got rid of my sty in one day. That takes me sometimes 2 weeks to get rid of. And literally game changer when it comes to dealing with little things like that. For me, it's the whole system because I find like 100 different uses for it almost every time.
Okay. Can we overdo ozone? How often? How much? I think we've kind of covered that. Once
Yeah.
you make your ozone water, can it be stored for future use or should it be used right away? Hi, Sandra.
You're going to want to use it right away because ozone is very reactive. It has a half-life. So basically what that means is when you put ozone into water, it really wants to convert itself back to oxygen. So it wants to go back to what it originally was. So you have about 15 to 20 minutes to use it up before it's back to the standard oxygen or the air that we breathe. So once you make it, you either got to use it or you're going to lose it.
So, Teresa, I'm interested in the oral health simple option without the tank. Can you please provide more details and pricing? So, you'll have to go to the site, Teresa. We've been talking about it. It's the EZ03. It's right there when you click the link, and those links are in the chat. I did also add the $100 off on the Relax Sauna in case anyone was interested in that, but that's right below the promo life.com/Siobhan, 10% off when you use the code 10SS. That's me.
Cool.
But definitely look at his tooth oils as well. They're ozonated
Yeah.
oils. Um, let's see. Will it dissolve the wax off apples? It
Yeah,
definitely
it does.
it
Yeah,
definitely
it
will.
definitely
Yep.
it
That
definitely
might be
helps
a
out
little
with
bit
that.
longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You might leave them in there a little
And
longer.
one thing to note on that people don't realize, biofilm is a big issue with this kind of stuff. And so bacteria hide behind biofilm. Ozone eats through biofilm, and that's one of the biggest culprits for like getting people sick. Even like internally, like, if you have a bacterial issue that's not going away, biofilm is typically the cause. Ozone cuts through biofilm.
Okay. My dentist recommended the ozonated water 10 years ago. Good for you to have a dentist that
Huh,
advanced. And I
that's
purchased
awesome.
A to Z ozone generator. Do you know what that is?
I
The
do,
A to
yeah.
Z. Okay. Is it legit and operates like your device that generates ozone without an oxygen tank?
So I highly recommend using an oxygen source or using electrolysis because this is a much purer form of oxygen. When you're pumping in ambient oxygen, you're pumping in 76% nitrogen and then other foreign gases as well. So that's mixing with the ozone. You're generating these other compounds, and there can be some non-favorable benefit or non-favorable things that happen with the ozone when you use ambient oxygen. So ambient oxygen is great for like air purification, but that's really about it. There might be some other benefits when it comes to like water treatment facilities, but when we're using this for oral health or human consumption, a pure oxygen source really is needed. It guarantees that what we're putting into the ozone is pure and it's not going to create any other chemicals or byproducts.
Do you ship? We have to go faster. Do you ship to the UK?
We do, yes.
Okay. And
And but let me note one thing. If you're interested, set up a call with us. There's a specific tank regulator that's needed for the UK. So don't just get out the one on the site. Message us. We can tell you what you need. Okay.
does treating skin cancer with ozone topically help?
We have a lot of people who use that for skin cancer. Yes,
Artie, of course, everyone's results are going to vary, and this is
of
not
course.
advice, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. I don't see the boost drops available on its own. How can I buy?
If you click on the actual EZ03 device, you'll have the option to, or you just type in boost drops in the search and it'll pull it right up. And I'll make sure I get those added right after this call.
Does it work for dogs as well?
Yes. Like I just talked to a lady. She pours the ozone water in her dog bowl, and it's literally improved the oral health of her dog. So
Absolutely.
blew my mind. So
Absolutely. Does it help with eczema? It helps with all kinds of skin conditions.
yeah,
To go faster, do you have to use ice cold water in a water pick? You do
no,
not.
you do not.
Melissa, I've heard of the bottle that creates the ozone spray with a charged top. Are you having one of those in the future?
I wish that company that makes that made those discontinued that product. They're looking into another manufacturing facility, so hopefully in the very near future we'll offer that.
Okay. Um, let's see. I'm running out of time. Sorry, guys. How do you
You're fine.
dispose of the O2 tanks?
Just throw them away.
Okay. How about for treating SIBO? Gabriella, I think that if you drink some of the ozone water, it certainly couldn't hurt. That is not the studied method, validated, double blind, blah, 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 for treating SIBO. But if you think about it, SIBO is the overgrowth of pathogenic microbes. And so there you go. Dentists used to recommend ozone with water pick, but said recent studies suggest diluting hydrogen peroxide with water more effective. What does your research suggest? I say do both, but go ahead.
Um, I would say that ozone is definitely less of a it's less invasive. It's going to feel better. Um, I'm just seeing more dentists recommending ozone now than hydrogen peroxide. Like, I feel like it does a better job. It tastes better. It's just going to be it's a much more healthier approach. I mean, literally all it is it's oxygen that's been electrified. So you're seeing it more you're seeing oxygen or ozone added more to water for purification and all that kind of stuff.
My functional doctor has me using Pure O3, ozonated olive oil for oral protocol. Can I ozonate my own oil?
You can if you have the time to do it and you have the right equipment. It just takes a lot of time to it takes a long time to do that.
And how much is this?
We sell the oral health stuff for I think it's like $24 or $29 a jar.
And boy, it lasts
It
a
works. It lasts a long
long
time.
time. Lasts a long. Our biodentist uses ozone water all the time. Cool, Grace. I hope that. What does your biodentist say for your husband's abscess? Are you? Let's see. I'm going to keep going here. Rectal insufflation, LDYS. Very interested and want to do it. However, Tobias, are you aware of the caution Dr. McCullough gave a few months ago? Do you know of the most recent research on the benefits of the rectal treatments?
I am not aware of what Dr. Mercola said, but I'd love to know at some point. So
Okay.
yes, I'd love to know.
Does the ozone, I already got that. Is there a system for ozone for a pool?
There is. There's systems out there for just about anything with ozone. So
Okay.
pools, hot tubs, laundry systems, pretty much anything you name it.
Okay. Let's see. If I've already answered your question, I'm not gonna be able to get to another one. Will the ozonated water kill good bacteria as well?
Yes, but typically if you have an over outbreak of bad bacteria, you've got to reset your mouth. Ozone creates a positive pH level in your mouth, which is what your good bacteria need to thrive and bounce back. So it will, but your good bacteria bounce back exponentially faster.
Okay. All right, there you go. Let's see. Remember those biofilms. You want to get those taken care
Yes.
of. Okay. We did that. We did that. Paul, I don't know about the ozone water treating C. diff. What do you think, Tobias? What have you heard? Oh,
There's some evidence that they've used ozone, but also in conjunction with certain types of like bacteria probiotics. And so there's some evidence out there that I think we could lean on that could be somewhat beneficial. So
okay. Here's the deal. I gotta do a couple of things and ask. Okay, let's talk about the penis problem.
okay.
So say the name of the disease and all of that, if you would.
So a lot of men have this disease called Peyronie's disease, and we're talking about the right one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So it's essentially scar tissue built up that can be usually it's from an injury at some point. And so what a lot of urologists are doing is they're actually injecting ozone gas into the bump, and it's literally straightening the penis out. And so it just goes to show you that ozone is neutralizing a lot of that scar tissue, and it's actually reverting it back to healthier tissue for the body. So um, I've just had multiple conversations with urologists and how they treat that, and it just blows my mind every single time.
It's really, really amazing. So I'm telling you, whether you have a boo-boo, whether you bite your nails and you need to like make sure your cuticles are really, truly clean, whether your kid does, whatever, your dental issues, this is so exciting. I need to tell the world about it, which is why I'm so glad you're here. Melinda's asking, where is it injected?
Are you talking about the ozone gas
I
for the
think for
penis
the,
or
yeah.
okay, well usually there's a bump from it's called like usually there's a bump that's usually scar tissue. So they're actually injecting it directly into the scar
Wow.
tissue.
Yeah, that is not going to feel great. Get some of that
It
later.
doesn't feel great,
Yeah, get some
but
topical lidocaine going there, kids. It's
yeah.
not medical advice. Good luck, but worth it. Can it help with uterus prolapse?
Can you explain to me what that is fully?
That's when your uterus is literally prolapsing in a, sort of like losing its placement with
Yeah,
the body.
I don't have it. I wish I had an answer for that, but I do not know.
What I would say is definitely come to the New Science and Wisdom of Menopause Summit, which you have been getting in your emails. And there's Kim Vopni, the vagina coach, and she teaches about that. That's a pelvic floor issue. We have
Cool.
we have 3 people talking about that in the summit. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Is the injection in the plaque of the Pyrenees a one-time treatment or a few or a life or monthly treatments? Like, does it just scar tissue? I didn't say it right.
No. So it can essentially be like a, maybe like 2 or 3 treatments and it should revert itself as long as you don't re-injure the penis.
Okay. How does drinking ozone differ from all the hydrogen water bottles out there? Different benefits? Hi, Julie. Yeah, it's different, but go ahead.
Yes. So hydrogen is an antioxidant. Ozone is an oxidant. So ozone is what actually eliminates the bacteria. Hydrogen is not going to eliminate bacteria. So they're completely different, but I do feel like they are very synergistically work together. The great thing with our bodies, we need a balanced amount of antioxidants, and we also need a balanced amount of oxidants. And so antioxidants and oxidants are a good thing, and our body knows what to do with them.
Okay. Somebody's asking about the information for the New Science and Wisdom of Menopause Summit. I will put it in the chat. Let's see, chat. Come on, darling. All right. Thank you all so much. I so appreciate you. If Tobias and his team can help you, I know they will. I mean, if you have questions, they're very, very good about it. Their training is excellent. I want to show you one more time what he literally put together some of my favorite products on this page, but it is pretty much for the whole site. So there it is. There's the EZ03. Which gauge do we need to order?
Oh, so if they just watch the video, because the
It's right
first
up
one
there.
is the pre-filled tanks, the second one is for industrial, the third is for medical. So as long as they watch the video, it'll tell them what to pick.
So if I'm
And
getting the pre-filled, which one do I get?
so it's the red ones that has its own regulator. So you would essentially just add to cart, and it will automatically take care of that for you.
Okay.
And I do want to note, like, if anybody has any ozone questions, I had my email address at the end of that slide presentation.
Go ahead and give it to us
We
again.
can Tobias at promolife.com. You can, feel free to email me ozone questions. I will be happy to answer, any questions that come through. Just give me a little bit of time to get those answered.
Okay, it's Tobias. That's so nice of you. At Ozone Life?
Promolife.com.
Promolife.
PROMOLIFE.
.com.
Yep.
Tobias Provo. Okay, very good. So there are the packages, the basic, the comprehensive. Comprehensive is more attachments. And then you can do the olive oil, ozonated olive oil capsules for internally. These are the suppositories.
Those are great for female issues as well, like bacterial issues. We see a lot of women use those. We have all of our dental products up there as well.
So good. Oil pulling solution. Remember not to put that down the sink. You want to put it in something and then throw it out.
Spit it in the trash can.
Yeah. Tooth cleaning powder. I love that. Beauty oil. I use that on like everything. Like I get a bump, I put that on there. I get a hangnail, I put it on there. So I'm not just using it as a beauty treatment. The soap, obsessed. He has ones with fragrances as well, with essential oils. I just had him put the unscented there. There's the jojoba oil. Anyway, there's a lot more, but I just wanted to show you some of these. And by the way, get the portable ozone sanitation Ozopod 10. Like I wish
it's super cool.
That
it really is
device.
cool.
It's such a game changer. Okay, last two. What about hypochlorous acid? That's HC. Like
HCl.
HCl,
Yeah.
like Briotech versus ozonated water. Great.
It's a lot safer. Ozone water is just so much safer and it just works better. So like I like to compare ozone water to chlorine. Ozone works about 1,000 times faster and is about 3 to 4 times stronger. So, and then not to mention how safe it is. So it's a game changer. Like all the dentists want ozone because it's safe and it works.
The tissue repair is incredible. How does the ozone stay in the oil?
So it's really cool. So we're infusing the ozone gas into oil, and it's actually it's being converted to an ozonide. So it's not actual ozone gas. So an ozonide is a much stabler form. It smells like ozone, it acts like ozone, it'll heal like ozone, but it's not actual active ozone gas. So if you leave it out in the heat, it will deteriorate over time. Refrigeration will help it last substantially longer, but you can still leave it out at room temperature and it'll be just fine.
Okay. Here's the thing. This is a great tool for you. Okay. You should, if you're like, I'm not going to get the whole setup, get this guy or the veggie wash dish and fruits. I just literally wish I'd had this growing up. I remember I used to like when I would fall, my mom would put like owie stuff in my boo-boos and it just was so miserable and so uncomfortable. I've had so many dental issues. I got my implants there, my crowns. I don't know if you saw my like partially toothless smile for the past year. I finally got those in and I've just been rinsing with my ozone water, just feeling like so good about it. And the dental visits just keep getting, they've always been good. Mainly my biggest problem is I had I had 4 or 5 cavitations, different than cavities. And then I had to have some redone. Oh, that was fun. And I've been working on my biological dentistry since 2018. And here we are, 2020.
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm done. And so I have gone down these rabbit holes. I have traveled out of state for dental issues. My one dentist is local, but the other one, the periodontist, he's 2.5 hours away. So I go back and forth and back and forth. Been doing this, oh my gosh, since 2018. Finally, it's fixed. Yay. So it's a lot, but you want to avoid that as much as possible. You want to maintain as much as possible. This is such a beautiful, natural way to do it. Explore it for yourselves, find out for yourselves. A lot of information on his website. You have the links. Thank you so much for being here. I have to wrap it up, and I just want to thank Tobias for all of his good work. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love answering these questions, and I love doing whatever I can to help inform people on the benefits of ozone.
Well, we really appreciate your mission. So pop some love into the chat for Tobias if you would, and definitely check it out. Just like go check it out. He doesn't do 10% off. If you're watching this after the window, I'm so sorry. The coupon is over. So you just have to like check to see. But I think I think you can get 7% off with my site at SIBO SOS. But that's also temporary. So
yeah, and everybody like
more than 10%. No, this is the most you do.
No, we barely. This is like super rare for us. But I just want to note, like if you need a consultation, if you need help before you purchase anything, call us, set up a sales call with us. We will walk you through what you need, especially if you're overseas and you have questions about what is available out there. We can let you know what you need and make sure it's all set up correctly.
Okay, that makes total sense. Siobhan, how do you use personally your ozone for your dental cavitations pre, during, post? Yes. Just swooshing water before bed or other things to help make the procedure successful? Well, first of all, you have to get the surgery. So it's not like this is going to prevent you from getting the surgery. You have to get those cleaned out. And then, gentle rinsing after post-surgery when, you've got the stitches in there, gentle. Like, they told me stories about how people like vigorously rinsed after surgery and then how people had to come back because it messed up a stitch or the skin gets dislodged as it's trying to heal. So like literally put it in your mouth, tilt your head. Like that's what she told me to do instead of like, bubbling it through. And then obviously as you heal, you can do that a little bit more vigorously. Feel like something's coming down with a little scratchy throat, I gargle. But I use it to wash my toothbrush as well because don't even get me started about how dirty toothbrush bristles are. Nasty. We're changing those out. Not the greenest thing to do for the planet, I know. But unfortunately, that's one of those trade-offs. And so this helps to extend the life of my toothbrush. What else do? I just use it in the same way that I have the bottles. I should throw them out. I have the bottles of my unsupervised husband. When I was away once, he got this like huge, you saw it. I'm going to go get it. Stand by. It's
Okay.
it's so stupid. It's just so stupid, but hang on.
Oh.
I'm going to throw this. I'm so upset with him. Do not buy this.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember? I'm like, honey, you have 3 advanced degrees. You bought this? What are you doing to me?
It promotes an acidic environment in the mouth, which will actually cause your bad bacteria to come back even worse.
And oh, look, it's gluten-free and sugar-free. He thought that would. And then we have this. And that is also not a great idea. Just use this. Okay, I gotta go. I love you. I'm on a rampage. I'm on a rant. I just feel very strongly about it. So I think you can tell that by now. Thank you, Tobias. I'm calming down. I love you all. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.